I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night to whoever watches this transmission. Welcome to a very special edition of Weekly World News, where today we're going to look at Canada going full blast communism, Canada on its way, its race to communism, as Canada is inching towards mandatory mask mandates and all stuff that's going on. Why is this happening? Well, it's very simple. Canada is forcing mask mandates because the Democrats are winning in the United States in the midterm election, even though it should have been a red wave where people had no confidence in government, but cameras are going dark. Let's take a look and see what's going on. All right, guys, if you can and don't mind, don't forget to support the transmission here. I really appreciate supporting us by going to Odyssey. And you can go to Odyssey and watch live episodes of Mike in the Night where we have call-ins from across the Commonwealth. There's 467 right there that we wrapped up. Really good call-ins from all over the Commonwealth. Boots on the ground and connecting the dots across the Commonwealth. We've been saying that for over 10 years here on the channel. And here it is right here. We are 20 weeks out, guys. We are 20 weeks out. Guys, if you want to support the transmission and keep the lights on for Mike in the Night, don't forget to support us here if you'd like on Donor Box. What do we have going on? Well, it looks like the Democrats are winning at the Senate, and it looks like the Republicans may win the House. So we've been keeping a close eye on this, and I've been keeping a very close eye on this because a lot of this is all fixed. It's all rigged. And I was hoping for a true red wave across America with the disappointing BS coming out of New York with Kathy and gruesome Newsom down in California. You would have thought you would have seen the end of the Democratic Party for at least 100 years, but it looks like the Republicans are losing. And are they losing? No. We said this on the live. We had the live election coverage. What did we say? Would the Republicans be allowed to win? That's the question we need to ask. Will they be allowed to win? And that's the problem we're facing here. Obviously, they're going to allow the Democrats to go forward, and this is good news for Canada. Mike, what the hell does it have to do with Canada? It has everything to do with Canada. So there's the governor election results there. Let me full screen this for you guys to see. And there's the Senate, and there's the House. So let's move on to what I'm talking about. So we asked you guys, in a race to communism, vote who you will think will reach communism first. USA, 5%, 17% Australia, 60% Canada, and New Zealand, 18%. And no, this wasn't 100 people were asked through a pollsters. This was 696 people voted 17 hours ago. Not 100 people were asked from random places. These were actually people from these countries that or live in some of these countries or are seeing what's happening overseas in these countries. So there it is right there. And there we go. San Jose residents' election ballot found, dumped in Santa Cruz, along with dozens of others. So there it is right there. And it's going to get ugly. Cameras go dark at vote counting facility in Key, Nevada County. So that lady with the purple and white hair is going to save America. And what else? Canadian leaders could breathe a sigh of relief. No investigation headed north, and Canada and the U.S. can continue the race towards communism. So America is catching up. It's Amerifornia. It's going to take a while for all of America to become California. Canada, I'm in California. So Canada is all basically California. Canada is basically California. So basically, NBC News projects the Great Old Party wins House of Representatives 2019 to 2016. So this may be good news. If the Great Old Party, the Republicans, could win this. So that's good news. And let's move on. So Canada was posting this before the election here, worrying the Canadians, said Canada should rethink relationship with the U.S. as democratic backsliding worsens security experts. So they were already preparing Canadians that if there was a red wave in America, to basically ignore everything that's coming out of America, ignore the news out of there, ignore everything, ignore all the big investigations that are going to be against Biden and Hunter Biden and all the people in the governor of New York, the governor of California, the governor of, Georgia, all the 2020 election, fraud, everything. This was going to cause a major problem. So Canada was kind of preparing with photos like this a few months back, just to warn people about how bad the Republicans are, right? So that's already America in preparation to prepare its masses to what's going to happen, right? So this basically keeps the public sector going in Canada. A lot of people vote Liberal. Well, a lot of people vote Liberal in Canada because they work in the public sector. They don't want to lose their public sector positions of making $180,000 a year, working for the government of Canada, they don't even know what they do. So there it is. Feds hold groundbreaking ceremony for Moderna's mRNA vaccine factory in Montreal. The reason why I brought this up is because the public sector funding in Canada that's been funding all this garbage, and they're going to obviously reinstate mask mandates in Ontario. And mark my words, they're reinstating the mask mandates back in Ontario, Canada. Do you know why? Because the Republicans are losing in America. And this is Canada skating to communism. And this is perfect for China. It's perfect for everybody on board that want to disenfranchise the Canadian middle class and basically take away what we've built and what my dad built. So we got more banana republics here. Brazil is going to go communist too. And there it is. Banana Republic, how globalists repeated 2020 in their steal of the Brazilian election. We've been covering the Brazilian elections on Mike of the Night in depth. You guys can go there and watch it. And the current economic cycle is similar to previous bubbles, but which one? This is Bank of Montreal reporting this, and this is Better Dwelling. This is no previous bubble because Canada has never have to deal with such an influx of money laundering in their history. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. There it is. Majority of money coming in predominantly from mainland China into different provinces. Hundreds of billions of dollars coming in. And this was posted, when was this posted? In May of 2019, as things started to fall apart, and then they pulled the trigger on the you-know-what to kind of silence things or prolong things or disenfranchise more Canadian middle class. So there it is. Canada would be a recession with money laundering. And going back to this article, no. Canada, just so you guys know, this is no previous bubble that Canada has ever had because Canada never had to be dependent on exporting housing or selling housing to foreign Chinese nationalists or, selling entire towers and leaving them empty and leaving complete neighborhoods empty. This never happened before. This is the first time in its history that it's been going on since pretty much the Vancouver Olympics in 2010 when Vancouver opened its door to money laundering and they were pushing out Europeans, deporting tons of Portuguese families, Polish families, I found out, and Hungarian families were being deported out of Ontario, Canada, with people living in Canada 10, 20 years. So there it is, Canadian economic cycle. So there's no bubble like it. We created this Frankenstein economic monster, something we've been talking about on the channel for the last 3 years. 4 years now, this Frankenstein monster. So you can see the signs of communism. No Canadian hires for 4 years at Chinese-owned BC mine, our biggest coal mine in Canada. RCMP arrests Hydro-Quebec employee on espionage charges, selling secrets to Chinese officials. See, secrets to Chinese government. And there it is right there. And this was updated November, it was a few days ago. It was actually, according to this, I don't have a calendar open. It was probably yesterday's date. So there it is right there. And this is a major issue. Canada is going communist. Now, when Canadian officials are gawking and watching, oh my God, is there going to be a red wave in America? What is this going to mean for Canada? Well, it means that they will probably put the investigation back in line to investigate Canada and find out what's going on, right? And we've been reporting it here. Take a really good look at this, folks. Where's that? Right there. There it is right there. And there it is. Canada is now China as money laundering and fentanyl pours into Canadian shores via China. We've made multiple videos like this. Chinese millionaires using backdoor into Canada to help fake housing market 3 years ago. So it's an economic war, Canada, get ready for more Chinese, more parked money. Rest in peace, middle class 3 years ago. So it's basically Canada wants more Chinese immigration, 500,000 per year to prop our ailing housing market 5 years ago. So this is something that's been going on where Canada was very select on who it immigrated in. In 1993, Canada closed immigration to Europe and made it very hard for Europeans to get into Canada after 1993, so they could open the floodgates after the infrastructure was built, but the timing was off. So there's a lot of Canadians or European Canadians still living in Canada that are struggling in the private sector because a majority of us do not get hired into government jobs making those six-figure incomes because we're not welcome there, right? So the public sector, so there's two things that are going to happen here, folks, and I want to break them down here on the show. If Canada gets a government in that's actually going to balance the books and fix the issues that Canada's having with its overly spending, it's Canadian government overly spending, not its people buying homes they can't afford. It's Canadians' government's overly spending. Well, they're going to have to do one of two things, okay? And you heard it here first. They're going to have to call the Canadian public sector. We're talking about teachers making medium six-figure incomes, doctors making medium to high six-figure incomes in Canada. We're talking, well, he's a doctor, Mike. Yeah, but look what's happened to our healthcare system in the last 10 years, right? Keep that in mind. The persecution of nurses and doctors that actually spoke up against the you-know-what, that lost their jobs. You got to keep those people and really keep those people in mind, right? So that's what's happening. That's how it's coming down. So there's two things that are going to happen. They're going to have to cull the Canadian public sector by 80%. And that's why a lot of these people vote Liberal that work for the government. Because once they get a conservative government in that's going to clean up what are these people all doing here? Why are these people wasting taxpayers' money? So if you get a government to balance the books, they're going to have to do that, or they're going to have to raise taxes by about 22% in Canada to offset and pay off our debt. So there's only two things that could happen. They cull the public sector, okay, or they raise taxes by 30%. Neither one of them would be a surprise to me, but a good conservative government in Canada will cull and remove 80 to 90% of public sector workers that are completely useless and doing nothing to basically help us out, or that are not servicing the private sector or the private citizen or the mom and pops. So I wanted to throw this out there because it's very important that we understand what is going on here, how it's going on, and here, there's more right here. Here you go. China operating extraditional police stations in Canada. I got a report from somebody living in Northern Ontario. We broke it here on the channel. We broke it on Mike in the Night, and I told you guys that there's a couple of them in New York, and they're finding out the ones that we already told you a month ago in Northern California, the one in Central California, and the one in Washington State that's opened up. So I kind of wanted to put that out there, that we do a little bit of not even predicting, but we do break a few things here on the channel. So there it is there, folks. It is Canada on its race to communism, with America Democrats winning the gubernatorial races and stuff. This is going to be a good thing for Canadian Parliament, so they could keep doing what they're doing. And I'm going to look up the Ontario mask mandates. Sorry, guys. Should have been ready with this, but that's okay. So there it is. It's all over the news. Let me open that for you guys here. So there it is. This is happening because the Democrats are winning down in the States. That's the only reason why. This is the reason why. While the rest of the world is asking for amnesty on what's happened, Canada will be going forward with new juices and new mandates that are going to be rolling into Canada, because they want to go full-blown communist here. As our housing market crashes in Canada and the money laundering starts to surface, it's going to be a big problem for Canadian politicians to take accountability for anything. So what's going to happen? They're just going to bring back the masks and more injections for people. Anyways, guys, Mike Martins here signing off for Weekly World News. Canada's race to communism. How much longer will it take as Canada races towards communism? Don't forget to subscribe, support the channel, and don't forget to share these videos and get this message out there. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.